Box live stream. It's Thursday. Hope everybody's having a good week. Trying to get everything a little finalized here myself. But again, I hope everybody's having a good day too. We're going to be working on the inlay still today with one camera. I'm trying to get my video feed watch opened up here so I can look for any messages without it doing it automatically for me. I kind of forgot how to do some things sometimes. Oopsie. And I screwed something up there. Alright, let's try this again. But anyway, don't forget to give the likes, thumbs up, shares, all that stuff. I appreciate it if you're watching this now or if you're watching this later. I know I have a few people that do like to watch later. I get comments and messages from them at different times, so I do appreciate it. Alright, I think I'm finally got things set. Well, almost. Then I can finally get into this. But I got a little bit done over since Tuesday we left, so starting to see a little bit of something in here now, so that's nice, right? Alright, make sure I push the right buttons this time. Okay, I think I'm set. Alright, let's go ahead and get going here. Like I said, got some done. I hope, like to have more done, but it's always would love to have more done, but we're on line 15 right now, halfway through line 15, so overall I want to average about two and a half lines a day would be good, and I'm kind of getting there with that, so that's been kind of nice. Hopefully we can kind of keep that up. Hope to get a little more done sometimes, but you know, life. Alright, let's get this going. I gotta twist this around weirdly to grab the ring decent enough. I could do it another way, but it seems like I would screw up. I was screwing up the rings more that way, so right now I'm gonna have to change up the way I do it once it gets bigger and I won't be able to flop it around as much, so that'll change, and that'll probably be by next Tuesday. Well, like I said, next Tuesday I'll show you the design here. I wanted to get further into it because right now there's not a whole lot to it and it's a little boring. And if I show the design, it's like, well, I want to see something, but there's nothing to see yet. So we're going to reveal it next Tuesday, and then explain a little bit more of it. And we'll go from there. But this is the project we'll be working on for the next several weeks. I need to get this finished up, and hopefully it goes fairly quick because I want to get into the next one. Oh, come on, get out of there. I want to get on to the next, we're going to do the Kelsey jersey next. That'll definitely take some time too because it's going to be over 40,000 rings. This one has 16,000 rings in it, so it's got a little bit of beef to it other than their 16 gauge rings. So they're smaller than what I normally do for most of my Chiefs inlay stuff that I have done. I use 1/4 inch 16 gauge. So little play. We'll show at the end of here the play, and with this you just don't get much. Side to side you get a little bit, and up to down is pretty much non-existent. But it kind of gives you a different feel, a different look, and for this particular one, and this is what I wanted to do. I've wanted to do this inlay for a while, and kind of had a reason to, so that's why I've kind of gotten into it now, and we'll go through that again, like I said, next week, a little bit more. If you're on my personal friends pages, you might have already heard. It was something I was hoping I wouldn't have to post or talk about for a while, but that changed. So quick looks around. Hopefully everything's going to work good on the stream today too. I've got a video going. I've got my first 10 hours. I can only do 10-hour chunks at a time with my video program, so I got my first 10 hours in there working on time lapse. I'm trying to change it up this time. Most time I just do a time lapse, so just a video. It's kind of quick and easy to do. This one I wanted to kind of have a clock on it that is also going fast to show the time more relative, because you know, like the ones I've done before, I can say, okay, this took 45 hours, here's a 4-minute, you know, time lapse. But if there's a little hour clicker on there, I think maybe that'll show a little bit more. Though it'll probably be super fast to put seconds on it. But I probably didn't need to, because the minutes are probably going to look like seconds. If not the hours, per se. Because I can't make it too long, so it gets shrunk up quite a bit. But, so I'm working on that, and that's actually over there working on the computer right now. I had it doing it a version overnight, which is normally when I do that kind of thing. Just so I'm not playing on the computer and not have to worry about it and all that. But I found a major glitch in it this morning when I checked the video that I'd converted overnight, and so I was like, oh, I gotta redo it. So I started it up probably, probably 8:30 this morning, and I'm still only about 20% in. It takes quite a long time to convert 10 hours of video. And I tried to find a way where, because I can do the time lapse, like I said, pretty quick, but then it was a matter of getting the clock synced up right, and I wanted it to be accurate. I could have faked a clock per se, but I thought it would just be better to have it embedded into it and not have to, and I could be off the other way. This way you get actual time. The hours, minutes, and seconds are coincided with the video, so that's why I have to do. Normally, when I do a first crunch of a time-lapse video, I can only take it. You can only time-lapse it so much at once, and I'll take the 10 hours. I think I get down to about an hour and 20 minutes on my first one. So I take 10 hours down to an hour, and then I have to redo it. I redo it 3 times to get it down to where I can fit multiple, but I mean, by the time we're done, I'm not sure how many hours we're going to have on this one yet. Like I said, I know my first estimate when I designed this and ordered rings and all that, it wasn't until I started building that I realized I used the wrong per ring, seconds per ring calculation. So when I recalculated, I was a little scared. And now that I've gotten into it a little bit more, I'm getting a little more used to it. Like I said, I'm using different rings that open a different way than what I'm used to, so I have to be careful. Plus, this is such a tight weave. I mean, it's just a 4-in-1, but it's pretty tight using the AR on these, or 3.0, I believe. I gotta be, a little careful. I've had to pull a few out that I scratched while I was trying to put in one because of the way I was trying to weave it. Like I said, that's why it's kind of turned up and weird sideways when I'm going backwards. When I'm going forwards, we're okay because I can just tilt it a little bit and I'm right there. I'm probably going to have to end up turning this around every time I go backwards on it and work it from the top way, which is going to be a little strange. And eventually part of this is probably going to be in my lap when I'm going that way, so that I can get to it. But I'll see when I get there, I guess. Hopefully I'll start being able to figure that out over the weekend. Because I'd like to... there's going to be a lot more graphics starting to come into play here pretty soon. Next couple lines will start a little more. I think in another 8 lines, there's some more stuff coming in. So then it's going to start getting a little more picturesque. And a little tougher to work with. This is, like I said, I've only done this size ring inlay once before. Same ring size that I use for JPL3, which needs to be pretty snug anyway. And I think some people have made cubes, jelly cubes out of this size. I'm not sure, I'd have to look it up again, but I don't use this size on a ton of stuff. Though, like I said, my JPL, well, the thing with that is, I guess I've been using a lot of the, I don't remember, We've Got Mail rings for that. I got a bunch of their color rings, so they're a little different colors, so I've sold several of the necklaces out of those with the cuff clasps. I need to get some more stuff made with the cuff clasp. Those sell pretty well, it seems like. I honestly don't think I have anything left in stock that has cuff clasps on it right now. Every time they go up, it seems like no matter what color I build them in, they just sell. Everybody seems to like them. I could tell everybody, you know, I got different clasps. Anything you see here, you know, we can put a different clasp on it if you want something different out of what I've got. I've got, you know, several different kinds, and some I don't necessarily care to use, but I do have them. I've got the magnetic ones. Biggest thing with those, I want to find ones that have the twist lock magnetic, and those are harder to find that aren't just a plated metal. I want good quality, so there's got to be stainless steel or, you know, whatnot, and so it just makes it harder to find. I can find a lot of twist locky ones. I've got some aluminum, anodized aluminum ones that work good, but they don't twist lock, and the thing with those is it just makes it too easy to lose them. I mean, they are nice, it makes it easier to put on, but without having a twist lock on there, when they pop off, if you're not noticing right away. My mom, she wanted a couple of her bracelets years ago done on that, and I put them on there, and I was like, she's like, no, we'll be okay. She lost a couple, I think it was. At least one I know of for sure. And since we haven't put any more magnetic ones on there, they're just, you know, too easy, per se, to lose. So I do offer them, but I let everybody know, you know, you can easily lose this if you're not really paying attention and what you're doing. And like I said, well, and with the ones I have, if I ever find some stainless steel locking ones, I will get on those in a heartbeat, and they're probably out there. It's just a matter of finding them, because you know, I don't like using any plated stuff. I like all my clasps are all stainless steel, or I do have some powder coated clasps. I don't use them very often because they're kind of bright colors, but they're there to offer in case somebody wants something different, you know. Like I said, I got toggle ones. Steampunk Garage just came out with some clasps for like watches, wide cuffies that are more like a watch band, how they clasp together. Really nice looking. And yeah, I'll have to be getting me some of those. Much better than the ones that are out there that I've used. They do okay, but I've had the little posts on them break that hold on because they're just so thin. And again, they're plated, and I hate using them because they are plated. But there's really not any option if you wanted something wide like that. So it's kind of nice that Steampunk Garage has designed that, come up with those. So yeah, I'll be ordering some of those. I'm hoping over time she's got 4 or 5 different sizes, I think, right now. I think I need I'd like to have some that are one size smaller than what she currently has, along with the ones she does currently have. I'll be ordering several in each size to add to the collection. Screwed that ring all up. Like usual, every time they come out with something new, it's like I gotta buy some. And then, will I ever use it for something? Over time, yeah. Well, it's still like, I don't know, what was it, 8 years ago? TRL had scales left over from scales that they had sold to NASA that they were putting on one of the Mars mission as a skirt. And I guess they did a few other things, but they had these extra scales left over. So at the time, I think I bought like 8-9 bags of them. And I have never made anything out of them yet. I've actually given some away. So I've had some people, on the Facebook groups, they're like, yeah, I heard they had these scales and stuff a while back, blah, 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 blah. I was wanting to get a couple. And so, you know, I've given a few of them away and several of them away. But eventually I want to eventually, originally idea, okay, I'm starting to say originally too many times. My brain just comprehended that. I thought it'd be cool to build some type of like a satellite type of thing out of scales. When I got them, I had no idea how to do scale work. I've only, that was when I first started actually doing the business as a business. I've been doing chainmail for a while, but it was just basic stuff, home stuff, nothing major. Never dawned on me to look on the internet. I guess so. This was about 8-9 years ago, and started seeing scales and all that. So when I first started getting my rings from TRL, I started ordering the scales and got them, thinking I want to do something cool, spacecrafty out of them. But again, I didn't know at the time anything about scales. And now I do, but I've never sat back down to think about it. Maybe one day I will. That's probably should be a project to do, kind of like how the wormhole cube came to life. It was just playing around on a stream. Because originally when I started working on that, I was trying to make like a little tornado type thing. Then I thought about just having kind of one side connect to another side and make a wormhole. But then I couldn't get it stable. How was I going to be able to show it off that way without standing up, which was what I did. What I wanted to do with the tornado was hang it from the top and have it kind of drape down like a little tornado type thing. But then it just kept evolving, so I just need to pull these scales out and kind of play with them. I mean, there's only so much, though, you can do with scales that is per se known. Doesn't mean that there's not a lot out there that can still be done, or, doing this or that. One day. Not like everything, one day. Oh. Where are we at here? 17 minutes in. All that's still looking pretty good. I haven't looked at comments in a while. Sorry if I missed anything. I don't think I have. Alright, I guess that's good. I got a little too involved. I mean, I've been doing this for, I normally get about 20-30 minute stints in, and then I'll go do some housework, lawn work, whatever, for a little while. I'll come back, I'll get another 20-30 minutes in, and that's how I've been kind of working in the stuff, Then if I got any orders, I'll work on this a little bit, then I'll work on an order for a little bit. If it's laser, set that up, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of been how I've been playing it with this right now. We sit down for an hour during the stream and get a good chunk done in a way. So that's always good. It's the biggest chunk I get in the day. Well, one, I do kind of, when I'm not streaming, I'm not preoccupied by talking. Normally TV's playing something in the background. I can't really see it, so I'm just listening to it. So I kind of go a little... Time starts going real slow, compared to when I'm doing a stream when time flies by. This 17 minutes that we're at right now, granted, I guess we're probably only about 15 minutes of work, but even 15 minutes of work, sometimes by then I'm already dragging, going, oh man, I've been doing this for like 45 minutes. I'll look at the time going, really? 12 minutes? But then there's other times, especially when streaming, where, that time flies by. And there have been a few times, there was one time yesterday, I felt like I'd been over here for maybe 8-9 minutes. And I looked down at my timer and it was like 33 minutes, and I was like, what? And so I actually ended up working a few more minutes just to get to a point. I like to try to stop sometimes at different points that, not at an end of a line, because I've noticed I screw up more for some reason when I stop at the end of a line. But I've also been using stopper rings, and if you've watched me do any inlays, I use stopper rings when I got a lot of color that's the same. And I already put in my next row when I was coming up this row. I put in my stopper rings for the next row while I was there, so I didn't have to worry about doing it when I got to the end. This thing's already becoming a little... This would actually probably make it pretty decent. It'd be a straight tie. Wouldn't have a flare out, but this would probably make a nice dense tie. About the width that's at right now. I've been working with a lot of ties lately, so tie on the brain. I mean, I do a 4-in-1 tie, I do a really open version, I do a medium version, going the wrong way, so it's hanging up and down, and then I've done a couple right way ones and actually expanding out so you more get the shape of a normal tie as it comes down and kind of flares out. First one I did wanted to really twist up. Still looks good on, but when hanging by itself, it wants to twist, and that's when the next one I didn't do it all the way through, but I was testing because I was doing it out of bright aluminum. I was testing coiling my coils different ways, back one way and then the other way, and I noticed like that if I was to put the rings in, and the problem was as I was planned on doing it was making sure I was putting in the right rings and going back and forth between the coiled rings, how I coiled them, but I lost track at one point, and I was out of actually my, to me, backwards coil after I got a little ways into it, and it was staying straight though. But then I was like, I didn't want to coil up anymore. Got a little, I just wanted to finish it up at the time because I know it was going to work, and the purpose was more of a test on that tie. It's actually one that I didn't sell. Don't put out to sell. It actually has a little more work to finish it up. I'm down at the minor point, but I already had one just like it per se, and I was like, so I want to do it again, but now I want to do it in color. But with colored aluminum, you have to be careful when you change sizes because it normally is the different rings or the different coils were anodized at a different time. So, you buy 1/4 inch rings and then 5/16 inch rings. That can be sometimes pretty drastic in color. And it sucks in a way, but you can't really get around it either, so I get it, but some colors have been worse than others. Purple. The purple, they had kind of a weird purple at one point in time. Then now they have the electric purple, which is great. That's this perfect colored purple that I love. And now, but their normal purple is actually looking better too. But it does not match the original purple that I still have a bunch of. I think it's 5/16 that now would be considered, compared to what purples they have now, is more lavender, but it doesn't mix in. So those are the type of rings sometimes I just have to do something weird with because I only have a certain amount of size. You're limited in size, certain amount of ring sizes, gauges, kind of like the earrings we did a few weeks ago. I used the midnight and the hot bubble gun, or hot pink, or some weird name, radical red and radical pink. I don't know what it was. I only have the midnight in 2 different sizes of rings, and the pink one I think I only had 3. So you're kind of limited, and it kind of sucks sometimes when somebody's like, "Ooh, I like that color." The standard colors are standard, but sometimes when you get those odder colors that people seem to like more, you just don't get them all the time, and that's why I've kind of moved on and started going through different manufacturers, getting some other things. But now, doing that's all great, but sometimes it becomes more of an issue when you're trying to figure out price because the ring prices can be so drastic between everybody. It's like, yeah, okay, this ring, this necklace and material cost me another $4 from them, and then here. How do I price that? I don't want to overprice it because I normally like to price my stuff reasonably and probably a little too cheap, but I try to find that medium ground depending on what I'm doing. And over time, I hate something that I made 4 years ago, cost me such then. To replace it now would definitely cost me more, but I don't want to raise the price on that. That's how much it cost me. That's how at the time, let's just say at the time I was doing about $10 an hour 10 years ago. Now I might be, more in the $16, $18 range an hour. So to replace it again, it's going to cost even more because of my time on it. So, but I don't want to change the price on it from then to now because that's what it was when I did it. And, should I raise the price on it? Possibly, but that's what it was. And, I don't know, it just feels weird to do that because, that's how much at the time it cost me. Yes, to replace it. Would I replace it? Bracelets would be a different story, but I'm more talking like lampshades, some of the bigger items, the inlay, stuff like that. That's more where that would become a problem. Bracelets, necklaces and stuff, maybe not so much, because there's always a good turnover on that, so I don't have a lot of older stuff. I do have a few things that I've had for a while, but most things there's a good enough turnover where I feel at one point it's time to change prices, because I've moved on and changed that certain weave to a different manufacturer for the rings for it. You know, so that's the hardest part about doing all this stuff as a business. I love the creating side, but I sure hate trying to promote myself, sell stuff. I just want to make stuff and experimental making stuff. That's why I don't have a whole lot of pictures. Well, a couple of reasons. I was actually thinking about that earlier today. I was outside at one point, and I was like, man, I need to start getting more into pictures, because I do the videos and streams and make sure, you know, everybody knows I'm active and we're still around, because there for a while I wasn't even doing that. And I didn't post a whole lot of pictures because they were just the same pictures. You know, how many times can I post a picture of a box weave that I've done, you know, thousands upon thousands of times? Yeah, it might be a little different color this time, but, you know, and so that's how it was starting to get, how I was feeling. Well, and also my daughter, when she was younger, was helping with my pictures. I'd make stuff and she'd just take them away and give me pictures back, you know, which was, I got spoiled. I'll admit that. She spoiled me with that, because once she started getting older and having more things to do, she had less time to do it. And then I started asking, hey, can you have time to do pictures? And then it was starting to become half and half. She just didn't have time. Now it's just, you know, she's got her own things going on, so I can't ask her to do that. And, you know, there's not enough time. And I love taking pictures and doing that kind of thing, but it's so time consuming, because I want to do things just right. I want to try. My worst thing when it comes to doing pictures of anything, I want to take the pictures in 15 different locations, different backgrounds, and then choose the one I like. And that's what she used to do a lot of, and I think that's why she spoiled me again. I want to see those different variations, because here lately I'm just taking quick bench pictures, maybe throwing up a quick background just to try to get something, you know, instead of taking the time to set up and all that, where you get the good pictures. And I get done doing my pictures, it's like, man, I miss the days when I had a bunch of pictures, in a way, because then she'd give me so many good ones. It's like, man, I love 12 of these pictures, but it's just the same thing, you know, so I'm going to check that ring. I think I might have screwed that one up. Scratched her up. She done scratched. I'm about done with this row, thankfully. Like I said, I hate going this way on these rows. It always takes longer. It's about 10 minutes longer to go backwards this way, down my rows. And then it gets harder at the end, because they won't stay in position where I can get a good grip, or I don't screw up the ring totally. I've marred several, and I've scratched rings below it, which is totally blue. Luckily, I'm always kind of looking at those rows before, so to make sure I didn't get a scratch in the row before, because I want to take it out then if I can. I've had to take out about 4 early on. It's gotten better since, you know, getting more used to weaving this way and using the tighter setups. I haven't done this setup, and I think last time I used this as an inlay was 4 years ago. Yeah, I guess it's 4 years ago when I did the W. The Tonka W. And so I think I've already said that this isn't Chiefs related, even though these colors might throw you off as something that I have done many times as Chiefs, but this is not Chiefs related. First inlay that's not Chiefs related since for a while. Well, what started them all was the inlay flag for Vicky. We did a Chiefs inlay flag. She was actually watching another chainmailer stream, Sean White over at Mailworks, and he was working on an inlay. I think it was the Raiders inlay, and I was watching it too. I didn't catch all of it, but I was catching it. It's like great work. I loved watching it, but other than being a Raiders. But I guess she had contacted him about doing a Chiefs inlay, and inlays are pretty tough. And he knew I was a Chiefs fan. He's seen I'd done at that time. I'd done my jersey after the Super Bowl win, so it was shortly after that Super Bowl win in 2020. So that's where the streams actually started from that, because she was watching his stream to do that, and I was like, you know what? Why don't we just try to stream building your flag for you, since you were watching him do that. So, and that's where we started from, and been doing it since, other than a few little breaks here and there. Normally take a little Christmas break. This year was a little crazier with everything that went on with the wife's health, and everybody got the COVID, and trying to get my own. Before that even all happened, it was just trying to get into a different rhythm of not doing band stuff anymore. I still go to things, but not every event, going to the practices, going to, this and that for whatever. I do miss it. I will say that. There are times where I'm like, man, I'll see somebody posting pictures of them out at an event and whatnot, and it's like, I was there videotaping, now I'm not. But I still go a few times a year. I try to go to they have a festival for all the schools in the district, the 4 high schools. They come together for a night of showing off all their shows to each other. I always go to that and get that. The years that they've had it, the first 3 or 4 years, I actually tried to do it. Every year, storms. There was just thunderstorm warnings, and so they just couldn't have it. And it was something they couldn't really postpone and change because of everybody's band schedules so insane, September and October. But they finally started having it. They've had it the last several years. COVID year was a little weird. They actually split it into 2 weekends, so everybody didn't get to see everybody, but a lot of protocols, going on then and stuff. So, but I enjoy going to those, and actually I'm going to chat with the daughter and see if she might want to go to a competition this year somewhere. If we go to one where the band is, I'll videotape, but honestly, I would like to go to one and just kind of see the bands. I videotape for so long. It's nice. I get to see a lot of bands, but I see them live, obviously, because I'm taping, but normally I'll end up taping several bands along with Tonka. When I was going, I tried to get the competition, per se. I wanted to just see the other bands anyway, because, I enjoy it. Even before my kids were in band, I still like going back and watching some competitions. I used to go to Mo West all the time up here, because it's somewhat close. Yeah, I could just go hang out watching bands. And then I actually did that before I started getting into videotaping. That was more when my oldest finally was getting into her bands in the middle school. It's kind of when I started getting into more of the videotaping side of things, and thought, well, if bands could use it, I'll help if I can. And did that for the, started 16 years ago or so now. And definitely do miss it. Last year was the first year of not doing it. I still went to, like I said, a few things. I went to contests too. Did plan on going to the Christmas concert, but we all got sick, so that's where I lost out on the last couple events of the year too. We missed those because of sickness. So wasn't a very good end to last year. All last summer up until early fall was pretty good for us. We had good events going on. Things were kind of. And then November hit, and it just kind of, it was like hit after hit. Here's November, take this. December comes in and gives you another, oh, you were looking for the left hook. Here's a right hook. January pops in, and that was the uppercut there. That one kind of blew. February, it's kind of, trying to figure things out. It was more just jabs, I guess, since then. It was January, December, November. Those were a right, left, and an uppercut. Just kind of bing, bang, booms. It blues. Slowly trying to get things figured out, though. We're kind of getting there in a way, but everything's always just so fluid anymore. Some things kind of freak me out anymore. I'm afraid to get into too many events because you got to pay for these events up in advance, and sometimes I just don't know if I'm going to get to them, so I'm just trying to do some of the basic ones that I normally hit and bypassing some of the ones we just barely got into or been wanting to get into. Though, I mean, we're doing Gladfest this year. It's one I've never been able to really do till last year because of all the band stuff I did. We're going to do it again this year, so I mean, that's an add-in, and then hopefully November, December don't give me any issues. Because actually our Tonka one, Tonka's our December event, and we missed it the last 2 years. All because of sickness. That time of the year has always been sucky for me. It used to really be Turkey Day for, I don't know, probably a good 10, 12 years, up, when I was in my mid-20s, early 30s. Turkey Day, I would always be sick that week of coming up, right in within there. And the first week of December is pretty close to Turkey Day, but it seems like here lately, it's been pushed off, and it's early December now that I keep getting my yearly sickness. I just get a cold. This year, it was this past year, it was a cold again. It wasn't COVID. COVID didn't get me till January. So that was crazy in itself. Well, and then I had the stomach bug at the end of January, or the end of December. We all got 3 major bugs come through the house, January, December that year. That's what kind of... Alright, well that row's now done. See, I've already put in my stoppers for there. I'm going to mark that row done. On to row 16. So what row should I be at by today? I think I was, at the end of the day, if I went with my average, the bare minimum I need to do, which was just under 2 rows, I needed to be today at row, let's see, that would have been 11, and we're at 15, so I'm definitely further ahead than my bare minimum that I want to be at, so we will order our time anyway. Can't see after looking at these little things. 38 minutes there, okay. We still got a little bit. Work down this row a bit. Yeah, okay. Like the next row, I'm going to have 2 rows of stoppers. Or, I guess it'd be 3. Right now I'm using 2 stoppers. Next row, after we come down this way, coming back. Ooh, excuse me. I'll have 3 areas of stoppers as we start adding in a little bit more. That's what I'm saying. By next Tuesday, there'll be enough graphic here to be a little more of a surprise, and then we can show the graphic, because whenever I design mine out, I end up having a text version and a graphical version, so that something to show. Plus I like looking at it. It helps verify. Sometimes it's easier to use it on big rows like I'm currently working on, where I've got long rows of the same color. It's easier to look at the graphic in the row before. Okay, where's my stopper ring need to go in, and put it there. Sometimes it's just easier that way. Come on. You don't... Well, I guess that's probably part of the problem. Didn't open it up for enough. No. Oh, man, I just realized. I wonder... Maybe that's... My phone listens to me too much. Or my phone is making me change the way I talk. Because I should have just said for, and I said fur. And that's just like my phone. It auto-corrects whenever I spell for anything. What are you going to the store for? Or something like that. Every time I put in for, I spell it correctly. It changes it to fur. F-I-R. And it started doing that because I wasn't misspelling it when I first got the phone years ago. But the I and the O are right next to each other, so a few times I hit it, it didn't autocorrect it, and so now it thinks that's what I want whenever I put in 4. So most anybody that gets text messages from me, I have to tell them, if you get a fur, it means 4. My phone autocorrects it to fur now. And I just realized, I just said fur when I was just talking, and I'm like, oh my phone's taking over. Alright, come on. It shouldn't be that difficult. Got to get a few in, and then it kind of stabilizes itself here, and it's much easier to start getting them in. I don't need to lift it up as much to get it to go through. I think I've got 90 something rings of red, 92. So that's why I normally put in a stopper ring, because if I gotta count out 92, that's just giving me 92 times to screw up, or I might miss one or add an extra one. So it's just easier to put in a stopper ring and work to it. I don't have to count. Double check that ring. She was a little difficult. Quick looks around. We are past the halfway point. I didn't do my normal halfway spiel. Still trying to get back into the flow of it. Like I said, we had a few early streams in like February, I think it was, January, February, where I was trying to get back into normal, but things again went a little weird, and then we finally kind of got back into it here in the last few months. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I still need to change my intro on that. Really never made an announcement. At first I wasn't sure if that was going to stick or not, because, you know, like I said, so many things changing. I didn't want to say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. But it has been working out fairly well. There's parts of being in the early afternoon like this I do enjoy. There are other parts of it I don't. Biggest problem is I'm normally so busy in the morning doing so much other stuff here and there, I have to remind myself. At night, when I was doing it at night, it seemed a lot easier because of what was going on around those times. Now, part of that could have just been that I had done it so long at that time, I was getting more used to it. Now, I'm kind of getting used to this time, but like I said, there are pluses and minuses to both. I do kind of miss doing it more days a week. I actually did think about Saturday night. It was probably, I just started in it on doing this Saturday night. It was probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I thought about starting up a stream for the start of doing this. But I was like, I was so half tired. I was kind of ready to stop anyway, and that's the biggest thing now, is normally that point at night now. 8:30 when we used to start the stream, I'm kind of already kind of wanting to just kind of chill. I've been waking up so much earlier here lately, past year, especially more since, January and dealing with everything we've got dealing on, but I've been in a pretty decent habit, but I have to, I gotta get up and get the cats shots and crushed up medicine every day, so, that's kind of crazy. I can do the cat's medicine. I hate giving Buzz a shot, all this. It's not that part. It's more of remembering to do their medicine that is so crazy to me, because if I'm sick and they give me medicine, you need to take this and that at such and such time, blah, 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 blah. I have the hardest time remembering to do that for myself. But the cats, I think that was part of it with Marble needing hers at 8 in the morning. I was just kind of getting up, waking up to do her medicine and kind of blah for a while. But now, I've been going to bed earlier. I'm waking up well before she needs her medicine anymore. Actually, last night didn't sleep too bad. Couple past few nights, I don't know what it's been. There's been a few changes. I got this new smartwatch thing. My old one was a lot smaller, thinner, lighter, and I haven't been able to use it. I hadn't used it actually for about the past 6 months because it finally died on me back around Christmas time, maybe a little after, February-ish. it was early in the year. It was still winter and all that. It finally kapooted on me, and didn't have one. I kind of like to have it. I don't use any of the extra things. I don't use it to track steps or anything like that. I mostly just try to keep track of. I'm getting older. I do have a slight sleep apnea thing. I don't do anything for, which I know I should, but I cannot sleep with that thing. And so I like to keep track of my stuff in a way, just general knowledge, not as like and watching it constantly. And so I just got that a few days ago. At the same time, I got a new blanket. I've been using the other blanket, which in a way might sound a little oddish and maybe grossish. I don't know. It's not like it's dirty. I clean it all the time. But I've had this blanket that I've used forever. I mean, I can't even remember. When I start thinking about it, I only remember 3 blankets in my lifetime. I grew up as a kid. The first blanket I kind of ever remember, I had 2 green army type blankets. I don't know if they were actually army blankets or not, but they were army green, not super thick. I mean, they were thinnish, but they had kind of weird lines in it, and I just always called it an army blanket. I had 2 of those, and that lasted me till I graduated high school. So as early as I can remember, I had these 2 blankets till I got out of high school, and then, finally moved out on my own and stuff. I remember having that. And now, at one point in time, once me and the wife got together, I had a second blanket that I know I had, and she knows I had. We actually talked about this. Yeah, there was a blanket. It was the blanket. It was a blanket she only knew that I used for the whole beginning for quite a bit of our relationship and everything. So, but we can't remember what it was, what the design was, or anything like that. I just know I had it forever, and it wasn't until probably 15 years ago or so, maybe a little bit more. She actually got a new blanket, and I didn't like hers at first because it was just thick and hot. But, through the years, it kind of flattened down, been washed a lot. Excuse me. And so I kind of took over her old blanket, and that's what I've used pretty much since we've lived in this house. Not all of it, but... And that's the only other blanket I can remember. Like I said, it sounds a little weird and a little gross, but I mean, I kept it clean. It washed up all the time. So... it might be weird to people. To me, it just... Again, like I said, that's why when I started thinking about what blankets of it... my wife's had several different blankets through the years. And every time she gets them, I've tried to use them. But most of them are just so poofy, so thick. I can't sleep with just a sheet. I don't know what it is about a sheet. It feels so weird. So I don't know. Blankets are hard to find, so when I find one that works, I really hate to give it up. In all honesty, I wouldn't have given up my old one as it was, but the wife had sewed it back together. I'm not sure how many times now, and after the last time she'd sewed it together, I don't know, it was last summerish, before everybody got sick and all that. I was like, I need to have it sewed up again. She's like, alright, but this is the last time I'm sewing it up. So, when it's had another little area that wasn't super bad, but it was like, it would have been again. It's like I don't even remember that saying that they always say, but you buy an axe, you have the axe for 5 years, you break the handle, you replace the handle. Another 5 years later, you break the head, so you replace the head. You're still using the other. Now, is it still an old axe because you've now replaced it all? Or is it a new axe? Can you say it? How do you go about that? It's kind of was that situation with by the time you know you put in patches and sewing this up and all that, was it really all that old? Type thing. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, I know, but it was one of those things that just happened. And I ever since I got this new blanket, I've had a hard time sleeping. I think I'll extremely love it in the winter time, but it's not broken in yet for me. I think for a summer sleep. I mean, I don't cover up all together when I'm in the summer, but I got a twin extra long, extra large, whatever blanket. I mean, I know we have king bed, but we use our own separate blankets. We hog each other. Plus, I love in the wintertime to become a burrito. I love to wrap up around it. So there's not a. I'd have to have 2 king size blankets sewed together to have enough for me and in the life. So I think I'm gonna extremely love it in the wintertime, and maybe when it gets broken in, because I like the size of it. It's got a nice length to it, which my other one was a little short. I always seem like every time I sleep with it, I just need like an extra 3 inches here, and I think I would be perfect with this blanket. It was wider than needed, so that's why I was like, I don't need, because I think she had I think this old blanket was a queen. She kept telling me it was a twin, but it was more square, and every time I look at twins, they weren't square, they were more rectangle, so I decided to go with that. So I like the size overall, but it's just really poopy and hot. Everything's just hot to me, though. My pillow gets too dang hot. My sheets that I sleep on are too hot. The mattress is too hot. I'd probably be okay with having my mattress on a block of ice and having a thin mattress. I'd probably be alright with. I sleep much better when it's cool. And that's why this weather I'm ready to, well, actually the last few days have been pretty darn nice. Got a few more days, but I think it was Saturday into Sunday. I think we start getting back up into the 90s to 100 by Sunday, Monday, and then the forecast just had us in the 90s for, I didn't look today, so I think this was 2 days ago, and they had it till like Thursday, I think, on the 10 day at the time. Sunday to Thursday was all 90s, and I was like, yucky. So that's not going to be a fun week. I'm ready for my winter. A nice cool fall or spring, either one of those. I don't like this. Last year, without doing the band stuff, it was a little weird. Still, I couldn't get into a rhythm of stuff. I think that's the biggest thing, just getting from around the house and yard work. Getting into the rhythm of things at different times, because I was so busy at early spring every year, I never got anything done, and by the time I could get out into the yard, it was so overgrown, and I was just battling all summer with it. I will say it's still been a battle this year, but I mean, lawn, the crud, it seems like every year still wins the yearly war. But I feel like I have won some battles this year so far. Not the greatest, but compared to past years, I feel like I've won more battles than I have. One of them is I just need to, like everything in life, money. So many things I could do and want to do that would be great if I just had a little extra, you know. But that's about like everything, isn't that? How everybody lives, you know. Just a little bit more, because I mean, if I can get rid of this pit back here, half my outdoor job would be done, because I wouldn't have to keep this stuff trimmed back, trying to keep it back when this whole thing just needs to get dug up and tossed. So I just need to find somebody that's got an excavator and a dump truck or something that can load that crap in and go away, and then I can just actually have a nice chunky yard back. Though I have looked at maybe doing a little gardening with it, but you know, it all depends on the youngest too. She's gotten into it a bit, but she's also getting to the age she's going to be finishing up school, so she's going to be moving on her own here soon. Where are we at in our time-wise? My eyes refocus. Focus on long range. There we go. Takes me a minute. whenever I'm doing this right now. Wife and other people tell me you should get bifocals because it'll help with the close-up stuff, and I'm like, nah. Wife had them, she hated them. I'm just afraid to get them. I'm fine without my glasses if it's close to me. So, whenever I'm working on chainmail, I actually just kind of make sure my glasses are pushed up, and I normally work by looking under my glasses, which is what I'm doing right now. So, is if I actually try to look through my glasses, they don't. I do need to get new glasses. I will admit that. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, when was the last time I got glasses? I think it was probably 6 years ago. To be honest. What is up there, man? Why won't you go the right way? Come on back out of there then. Yeah, so I was like, I probably need to go get them checked. It's not going to help for the close-up stuff anyway, but they always ask me, you want bifocals? Because I always say, yeah, I can see fine. I look under my glasses a lot, and they're like, you need bifocals. I'm like, I just always hear bad things about them, and I don't want to be locked into them, because I can't stand having, I don't think I'd be able to have that line when I'm looking through normal stuff. It'd drive me insane, I think. Don't know for sure, but then again, I don't want to waste the money on them and then not be able to use them because they drove me nuts. Because I'll admit, if they drove me too nutty, I wouldn't be able to, and I'd have to go back to my old one. So I'm going to spend money. I just need something I know I'm going to use and use. So, but we are coming up close to our hour here, so I'm going to continue working here till we do close up. But I do want to say thank you to everybody if you did drop in today and watch us, or if you're watching us later, I do appreciate it. Don't forget to give those thumbs up, like, shares. Like I said, all those good things help get the algorithms, letting us know, let people know that we're up here doing stuff. Want to let everybody know the Booga Box we're always active, even if we're not posting a lot of stuff. There's always something going on here. Always working on something, if it's either testing or this or that. But don't forget to subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. We streamed all those every Tuesday and Thursday. So put that in your schedule and come check us out. I know school's getting ready to start back up here around here, and people are going to start getting busy with that. So you might find more people watching us later than watching us live, since we're doing it during the day instead of night. But it's all good either way. They're there to come watch me for an hour weave 100 rings. I don't even know how many I do in an hour. I'm sure I could figure it out, but it's actually looking a little on the video. It actually is looking a little better, more defined right there than it is with me looking at it, but I'm at this weird low angle. Whenever I'm working on it, it always looks weird because I'm like at least a 45, if not more, degree angle to the piece. Whenever I look at the camera, it's at the 90-degree angle, so it always looks weird to me whenever I look up at the video and see it. So, hey man, that's looking better than it looks to me. How is that? And I'm like, it's video work. It makes it look 10% better. But like I said, I do appreciate it. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be showing the picture, the graphic of what we're working on. I'll talk more about it and all that. Again, not really that big of a thing, but whatever it is for my boring old chainmail life here. But yeah, we'll be back Tuesday. So I hope everybody has a good weekend. I know I got a birthday party this weekend for the grandkids coming. I think on Saturday. So I was going to put a little crampy in the Saturday getting some stuff done, but hopefully I can make up before that. Make up some time. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. We're going to go ahead and start closing up here. And don't forget, give a like, some thumbs up, shares, all that stuff like I said before. And we'll be back on Tuesday. So you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Peace.
There's a beautiful day headed your way.